Welcome back to another episode of Consciously Clueless. I'm your host, Carly, and I'll be your guide on this journey from consciousness to cluelessness and back around again. We are continuing on our conversations about vegan activism this month, but what I loved from last week was that we got a youth perspective. And it got me thinking, what other ways can people be activists, even if it's not looking like the ways that our previous guests have talked about being out there in the streets? What else can we do? Here we go. This podcast is supported by Will's Vegan Store. Will's Vegan Store has been a vegan company at the front of vegan clothing and sustainable fashion since they launched in 2013 by their founder, Will Green. They produce the most beautiful, vegan, sustainably made shoes, clothing, and accessories. I have been obsessed with this brand for years now. They were one of the first vegan brands that I really made the switch to. It can be hard to thrift shoes, but I love knowing that if I'm going to purchase a pair of shoes from Will's Vegan Store, they are going to be ethically made, their workers are protected, they don't use plastic packaging, they're delivered in an environmentally friendly way. It's truly the most amazing company to support. So if you're ready to try them yourself, hit the link in the show notes so they know that I sent you. This podcast is sponsored by TerraSeed. TerraSeed is on a mission to disrupt the vitamin industry, empower vegans, and reduce plastic waste in the world. They put everything plant-based people struggle to get in an all-inclusive, vegan, compostable package multivitamin that replenishes them and our planet every single day. Seriously, y'all, win, win, win. Even if you're not vegan, this vitamin will help you get those key nutrients that you need. I am so excited to share a discount code for your first purchase. Use code CARLY50 at checkout to get 50% off. Again, that's CARLY50 for 50% off your first purchase at terraseed.com. Don't forget this code so they know I sent you. Okay, so let's chat about being a vegan activist. Now, if you are a longtime listener of the show, then you will maybe feel like this is a familiar conversation, and you would be correct in that assumption because a while back, wow, now I can say over a year? Gosh, who even knows? A while back, I did an episode on how to be an activist. That was a general overview with a similar idea about how there are many different ways to show up as an activist, even if you feel like you can't really be that or whatever your image is of getting involved. There are probably more ways than some of the ones you think of. And I wanted to talk about that in this episode because for the past few weeks, or at least for the past few interview episodes on the show, we've talked to a lot of out and proud vegan activists who are out there doing the work as activists. Primarily in the last few weeks, we've talked to activists for the animals, but also the planet. So that is, of course, an amazing way to be active for a cause that you care about. But there are many other ways to be active for a cause you care about. And specifically in this episode, I want to talk about different ways you can think of yourself as a vegan activist by doing these tasks or these things in your life. So first of all, I want you to remember that to be an activist means to continue to show up and learn and educate yourself again and again and again. One documentary or one book or one podcast episode unfortunately doesn't make you an expert. So it is important to keep learning and keep yourself educated. And that alone is a really important way to be a vegan activist. Like, stay current and stay up to date on what is going on in that world. Another one, of course, we always have to talk about this, is to donate. Now, for many people, myself included, that is not always the option available to me, and probably similarly to many of you. If you can and have the resources to donate to causes that are maybe providing vegan outreach, or they are doing rescue missions to save animals from abuse, or they are going into schools and talking about veganism, whatever it is, if you can donate and you have the resources to do so, please, please, please support the people that are doing the work on the streets. Another one that I think we often forget is calling your reps. You can call your representatives or your senators or wherever you are in the world, really. You have some sort of leader in your community that you can contact and say, this is important. What are we doing in our community to talk about this and to solve the issue of a climate crisis and the detrimental impacts of the animal agriculture just in and of itself. Another great way to kind of do this different type of activism, and when I say different, I don't mean that to be negative. I truly mean different from kind of what we imagine. But a great one is going to a grocery store or a restaurant in your area and asking for more vegan products. We vote with our dollar. I've said it a lot. Push the market in the direction that we want it to go for sustainable products and vegan products to make sure they can get to a wider audience. So it's a really great idea to try and get places that sell food in your area to kind of get on board and see what they can do. Another great one, this is really one that I love, and you probably will have noticed if you follow me on Instagram, but wearing apparel with a message on it is such a cool conversation starter. I have a hat that says vegan on the front. It also says Slutty Vegan on the back because of the Slutty Vegan restaurant in Atlanta, Georgia, which I cannot wait to go to someday. I have a shirt that says something about protecting Mama Earth. I have actually another shirt about periods. I mean, I love a good message on apparel. One, because I just think it's cool. Or if they're funny or punny, I really like them. But also because usually I get someone commenting on it. One that I probably get comments on the most is a hat I have from Urban Native Era that says, "You are on native land." That one is such a great conversation starter, or at least a few head nods of recognition of the message, which is always a really nice feeling to know that there's community even when you think there's not. When you're fighting for a cause you believe in, sometimes you feel a little isolated, so those moments are nice. Another way to be a vegan activist is to post something on social media. Now, we don't want just social media activism. Don't mistake my words here, because we know, like when Black Lives Matter, when that was trending as a topic, right? And I'm not saying Black Lives Matter is trending, but when that hashtag was trending and then everyone was going with a black square on their social media, it was this cool moment of solidarity, but then there was a lot of talk afterwards about the emptiness of social media only campaigns, because it makes you feel like you're doing something, but you're not necessarily doing the work. So that is just a quick caveat, because I think that's important. However, as a form of activism and a form of sharing information, posting an article you think is cool or a video you think is interesting or anything like that can actually be pretty effective in maybe sparking one person's interest. So finally, when you think of yourself, or if you start to think of yourself as a vegan activist, which I hope you do in some way, shape, or form, if you are doing any of these things, you can always practice in how you talk about it. Remember things like matching your audience, meeting people where they're at, not shutting people down that don't agree with you. That is one I really had to work on, because it's just really hard. It really can be hard. I've talked about that enough. I won't bore you with that again, but that one took me a while. And remember to just take care of yourself. At the end of the day, you are doing work for a cause you believe in, for the planet, for the people around you, for the animals, and that's really amazing, and sometimes that can be really, really draining. So the best way to keep being able to be an activist is to make sure to take care of yourself. Thanks for listening to another episode of Consciously Clueless. If you enjoyed this episode, hit subscribe wherever you're listening. If that's somewhere like Apple Podcasts, leave a review and you could be read on air as the review of the week. Looking for more podcast content, yoga videos, meditations, and all-around amazing community? Head over to patreon.com/consciouslycarly and check out what's going on. And finally, if you are ready to make changes in your life but don't really know where to begin, let's work together. Head over to consciouslycarly.com and we can start the process and get you happy. Until next time.